very important. So this public forums is timely for us, and we have a lot of distinguished and experienced speakers from the departments of infectious disease, and also the pediatrics from Sarawak, and also from the Department of Veterinary Service Sarawak. And we must stress that rabies death is 100% preventable. This is very important. It's 100% preventable. There are many ways we can prevent it. And in Sarawak setting, the single most important, as I mentioned, the main factor is public awareness. A lot of people still take it for granted, take it easily. And this is not good for us, because in order to eradicate rabies, according to WHO, by 2030, I think everyone should have a role. I think the most important party is public. Despite the government or the Department of Veterinary can do a lot, but without the cooperations from public, I think it's unlikely to eradicate rabies in Sarawak. So MMA Sarawak branch, together with the Sarawak state government, organized these rabies public awareness forums in order to instill more awareness in the public. And hopefully this message, or the key messages from the speakers or panelists, can reach everyone in Sarawak, so people may know more about rabies and know more about animal bite. What should they do? What can they be done? And I would like to take this opportunity to thank our YV Datuk Seri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hien and all the speakers and panelists for your support and also contribution to make this event successful. I think lastly, I would like to thank everyone for your participation and have a fruitful forum today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Our first speaker is Dr. Nicholas Janek. He is the Acting Deputy Director of the Veterinary Health and Compliance Division and Assistant Director of the Veterinary Public Health Division Department of the Sarawak Veterinary Service. Please join me now in welcoming Dr. Nicholas to deliver his update about the rabies situation in Sarawak. Dr. Nicholas, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Now, firstly and very most importantly, before I talk about rabies, I would just like to know, among all of you people, how many of you got pets? Siapa yang ada kucing, siapa yang ada anjing sebagai haiwan kesayangan? Banyak-banyak kan? So, and what are your reasons for keeping pets? Apa ketujuan kamu orang menyimpan haiwan kesayangan tersebut? Okay, so some of you are thinking of, yeah, they are your family members. Some of them are your, how they call it, as someone to keep together. Some, of course, for those who keep dogs, they tend to keep for as a security measure. But the thing is, why I'm talking about like this is because without dogs, there is no rabies. Huh? And most people tend to blame rabies on stray dogs. But stray dogs should not exist. Why I say that? Because people tend to think that stray dogs are immediately found in nature. They are not found in nature. They are created by humans who, after they keep their dogs, and they found their dogs are not, what I call that, they don't have enough money to spend on their dogs, then they dump the dogs on the streets. That's how stray dogs come in. And so, unfortunately, stray dogs are blamed for everything. It's not their fault. It's actually we humans are at fault. Yeah? That's the most important issue. Because as long as we don't change our mindset, this problem will be here and forever be here. And unfortunately, rabies will be always be there. So now we go to our status. Okay, like I said, as my colleagues have said, let's talk about rabies. June 2017, we have the first case of rabies. Before that, there is no rabies at all. Why? Because for our side, from veterinary, we've been collecting, how they call it, some people may say it's cruel, but how do we detect rabies? Firstly, we have to collect from their brands, from the dog brands. And we've been sending the samples to our colleague in VRI there, Veterinary Research Institute. 10 heads per month, so around 120 heads has been sent to VRI every year until 2017. So that means, that's why we were very confident that we have no rabies at that particular time. Unfortunately, 2016, when we were sending our the dog's heads to VRI, that particular time, Nanjong also got rabies. So of course, since we have been never have rabies, so there's no test to do that. But by 2017, normally in Nanjong, which has been having rabies, most of the rabies there is only on dogs. Sarawak, unfortunately, and very infamously, the rabies were on humans, not on dogs. Only then when humans got it, then you start searching for the dogs, for the rabies. So that's the problem with our Sarawak side here. Yeah? Because we don't have rabies actually. If we were to search from our dogs at the time, from the DVS side, we said, yeah, we don't have rabies. But the medical Jabatan Kesehatan found rabies in humans. So that's how the story started from the case. It's not dog rabies, dog-related rabies, but human-related rabies. So for us, DVS, our policy is to eradicate rabies by 2025. For the world, is by 2030. For humans, our target was supposed to be no human deaths whatsoever. That's why no matter what we do, our first priority, very, very important, there shouldn't be no human deaths due to rabies. And how do we do that? This is where you guys come in. The public should know about it. That's why during the first time we talked about it, we said, no bite, no rabies, which is true. If you don't get bitten, no matter if there are dogs got rabies there, if you don't get bitten, you don't get rabies. Not unlike COVID. Now, COVID is in the air there. But rabies, you need to get bitten by a dog that got rabies. So if you don't get bitten, you shouldn't get rabies. And there will be no human deaths. Okay. So as you can see, these are the mode of transport, how rabies spreads. So quite a lot of places where you can see how rabies spreads. Yeah, mode of spread of rabies. Movement of stray dogs. Construction of one highway, of course, opening up more places. Unfortunately, I have to walk around. So these are how dogs spread from what they call that, the mode of spread from rabies. Firstly, it happens when it was in Siaran. Then suddenly it starts spreading from Siaran going to other divisions until at last it arrived to Limbang. So after that, we have to declare the whole of Sarawak infected. Okay. All right. So next. This is the global framework for our elimination of rabies, whereby we want to reduce rabies, dog-mediated rabies. Now, a lot of people keep on asking, why do we focus on dogs? Why not cats? Why not other animals? Because 99% or 90% is always dog related, whereby dogs tend to bite people. So that's the main reason why the government is focusing on dogs, and also why the world also focus on dogs. So too much detail sometimes a bit difficult, but that's why I just want to give you all these things. So DVS cannot work alone. JKNS also cannot work alone. We have to work. Everybody have to work together. From the public to the government, everybody must work together. If you expect us to do our job, we can vaccinate all the dogs. The problem is, who owns the dogs? Not DVS, but the public. Now, if the public doesn't cooperate with us, then no matter how well prepared we are, it's no use also. So that's why we are doing this public forum to tell the public, please come to our place for vaccination. Firstly, it's free. Free. Secondly, it's at your own time, whereby our office opens at 8 to 5. You don't have to wait for ring mass vaccination. Anytime you want to go for vaccination, bring your dogs, go to our office. Our office is all from Kuching until Lawas. We have our office is open 8 to 5 of Monday to Friday. So it's no problem. Take your time to come. During mass vaccination, then bring it in. No problem for us. Because we want to have as many dogs to be vaccinated, if possible. Because the more dogs are vaccinated, that's how we do what we call herd immunity. 70 to 80% being vaccinated, though, we reduce the number of incidences of rabies. Yeah? Now, so a lot of people were saying, from the world side, they said every country can eliminate canine rabies through vaccination within 13 years. We are quite ambitious. We want to target by 2025. So that means based on our current dog census, which means that we have to have all these phases. Unfortunately for us, we were able to achieve almost our target by 2020. After that, due to COVID, it scales down, and because problem with movement control and everything, people are more worried about their health. People are more worried about COVID itself. So the degree of awareness about rabies drops. That's what happened now. Why suddenly you find a lot of people being bitten? One. Number two, why there's human deaths. The numbers of human deaths this year was quite high. This is what the world was planning to do up to the stepwise approach through our rabies elimination. So this is more like details, this is more like theory side. So how do we come to our side? The local level. Firstly, very simple. For those who got pets, regardless of whether they are dogs or cats, dogs come to our office to vaccination. Cats, that's why I keep asking. If you love your animals, if you love your pets, do the proper thing. Think of welfare. Think of them as your children. So treat them with love, and then bring them for vaccination. And of course, very, very important. How many pets do you need? That's the question you must ask. I know some of people keep dogs and cats, some of them up to 10 to 20 to 30 in a house. And the problem is, how do you feed them? If you think if you can feed them, no problem. But if you're just depending and giving them just a normal, enough food for them to survive, that is not love. That is abuse. Abuse to all animals. Because you are not feeding them, to make them healthy. You're just making them alive. Just as if you think about Somalia, where the body very thin like that. That's how the animals will look like. What you want them is to look them as fit as possible, as able as possible. Secondly, we talk about neutering. If you want to keep pets, please neuter your animals. If you talk about breeding, yeah, then you go for breeding. But the thing is, if you don't neuter your pets, then the biggest issue will be all your animals. Where are you going to give the kittens, the puppies to? To your friends. How many friends do you have? How many puppies can you reproduce? And then after that, what do? A lot of people, very simple. At night time, they go out and they start dumping into the streets. And then after that, they hope the kind public to provide food to the puppies. And then after that, public complain about the puppies. And then we become the bad guys. The council have to catch the dogs, the puppies. We may have to put them to sleep. And then after that, the news come out saying that we are very cruel to these animals. We are killing them. We are putting them this one. The problem is who started first. So that's the most important. If you love your pets, please, very, 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 very important, do the proper thing. Feed them properly. Neuter them. If you have the time to able to look after them, then do it well. Why I'm not talking about rabies itself as per se, because the problem is everybody know about rabies. You got the dogs, please go and vaccinate them. That's why I don't want to just start talking so long about this one, because it's been too many times I've been talking about technical aspect, how this rabies looks like, what are this one is, it's of no use. What we want to know from people is your own pets. You must look after your pets. That's the most important thing. Your pets are the very, very important. I'm a vet, but I do not keep pets, because the thing is, do I have time to look after them? No. Do I have time to feed them? No. Do I have time even to provide food for them? Not really. So, if I don't have the time, I don't keep them. But for those who have time, who love the animals, do the proper thing. Vaccinate them, provide them food, give them love, let them live longer. Okay, secondly, very important, this way I have to tell the public. If, and unfortunately, you got bitten, please go to hospital, do the proper stepwise, whereby we tell people, wash your wounds, and do it properly, flowing water for 15 minutes, then go to a hospital. Let the hospital assess you. Because the problem is, why there are so many deaths? Due to this one. People don't seem to be care about it. They take that attitude where they don't care at all. And unfortunately, most people only came to hospital when they saw symptoms. When you saw rabies symptoms, only God can help you. Nobody can help you anymore. That's why we have all the 66 cases, 59 passed away. The others still alive, but I do not know how their punya functions. That one you have to ask our colleagues from JKNS. But the thing is, even then, some of them may just lie there, not functioning. So we do not want that to happen. It is preventable as long as you follow the proper protocols, which means that whoever got bitten, please go and see the doctor. And when you see the doctor, let's say you are in a community hospital, in a clinic, tell them that you got bitten by a dog and to describe it. If you don't do that description, of course for a normal person, they just treat it as normal wound. They give you anti-tetanus shot. That's all. But if, let's say, you tell them that you have bitten by a dog and the dog looks like rabbit, then they immediately inform the dog bite clinic to get ready for you. Because we have vaccines for humans also. The only problem with vaccines for humans, why we don't vaccinate humans just like we do vaccinate for COVID, because it costs a lot of money. costs a lot of money. And the thing is, the problem with rabies is, if you got bitten, it takes time for you, for the virus to go to your brain. Because the incubation period will take at least the longest is around 1 month. And so, that means, let's say, that's why I keep on telling people, the taller you are, if you got bitten from the leg, you kira 1 centimeter per day. So that is the amount of time you have time for you to go and see the doctor. The shorter you are, well, faham saja lah. So that's why children are at risk. And unfortunately, our children are very, very, I call it inquisitive. They like to see the live animals there. They want to touch them and everything. So it's a big issue for you. So please, for the sake of human lives, if you got bitten, please go and see the doctor. As for all those things inside my slides here, most of the things are mostly all technical part. I thought I'm going to give a talk to the doctor, so I was to present the technical part, but then I found out a lot are from the public, so it's better for me to just give a talk overall on the aspects of rabies itself, what is the problems, and especially in terms of animal welfare. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nicholas, for the informative talk. Our next speaker is Dr. Uy Chu Hak. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Uy. Dr. Uy has been the State Health Director since March 2022. So we'd like to hear from him to give us an overview of human rabies in Sarawak. Dr. Uy, please.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank MMA for inviting me to give this talk. They told me my job is very simple. All I need is just to give an overview of rabies in Sarawak. Simple overview. Then my talk will be continued by Dr. Chua, though he will be doing all the difficult part, talking on all the details. So I'll just give you an overview. Yeah, I think. So how? How do I? Okay. While they're setting up, I can do a bit of talking. So the MC mentioned that I just became the State Health Director about a year ago. But I guarantee you I'm not that young. I'm going to retire in 8 months. I've been working about 36 years already, you know. So not that young. Okay? No. Not my, okay. Okay, so... Okay, maybe can I have a show of hands among you all audience who are doctors? Doctors, yeah, the few sitting up there. Who are ketua kampung, community leaders and so on? Oh, excellent, very good. Okay, and just now Dr. Nicholas asked who are dog owners? Dog owners? Oh, Lord. Cat owners. Okay. What else I want to ask? Who leave their dog outside their house? Oh, they not say, because the council will go to your house. Okay. So, okay. It looks like... Okay. Yeah.
Oh.
So this is the other thing about this computer here, which I don't own, but it's just that it's not synchronized, but as if that this screen is another extension of that screen. So okay, so I cannot see here, so I have to move now. It won't appear on my computer. So okay. So I think as mentioned by Dr. Nicholas, I think Sarawak got his first human rabies case on the 1st of July. Actually, it's 30th of June. Okay. So so far we have 66. I think for me enough already, 66. So out of it, 59 death, and 7 discharged alive. But probably Dr. Chua will tell you that among the 7 that discharged alive, what happened to them. And then as for age-wise, range from 3 to 80 years old. So it doesn't matter whatever age you are. I'm sure you know why. Our children also play with dogs and cats. But 15 of them are less than 12 years old, and then 51 adults. Okay, so 47 of them got dog bite, 2 open wound, and 2 with cat scratch. But I'm sure you know these are all from history. So whether it's truly cat scratch alone or with dog bite, and 15 unknown because the patient that time couldn't give us an history. So next we come out with the area of injury. So Dr. Nicholas mentioned just now about how high you are makes a difference. Not that true, you know. It's actually where you got bitten. If you are very tall, but you got bitten at the neck, you are also finished, you know. So it's how many centimeter from the neck to the brain? So your leg can be very long, but you know. So 15% of them bitten at the upper and neck, and 36% upper limb, and then 23% lower limb. Okay, so this is where the thing came. So actually 48% of them are actually bitten by pet dogs. 26% stray dog, not wild dog. Stray dog means probably initially was pet dogs. After that, the owner discard them to become stray dogs. Then of course 1% pet cat. Then another 1% stray cat, and of course about 24% unknown, like what we mentioned just now. They also not sure, or they didn't tell us what's the history like lah. Okay, so this is very important. That's why actually it's very important that what we mentioned just now is actually these are the things that we can prevent. All these are actually human-owned animals. Okay, so this is the trend of reported animal bite cases. They come to Sarawak. Okay, so initially during 2018-19, there are a lot of cases. Then during MCO, somehow I think did we apply MCO to dog and cats? Not sure, but I'm sure because of actually human didn't go out, the dogs and cats still outside, you know, so they didn't get bitten. But at the moment, we are still hitting around that level that we are seeing now today. Okay, but okay. So we have 31 facilities in government facilities that provide anti-rabies vaccine to those who are bitten by dogs and cats with criteria, their wound criteria and so on. And if they get the wound is very big, category 3, then we also give them immunoglobulin. So we have 31 clinics in whole Sarawak having rabies vaccine, and 9 of them have immunoglobulin. But we have recently had a discussion. We are going to increase. With the increased importance of this case, we are going to increase our clinics. So one thing that I want to inform all of us here today is actually under the leadership of Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, our Deputy Premier and also Minister of Public Health, Housing and Local Government, in Sarawak, we work as a team under the One Health concept. One Health means you don't work alone. Vets work with local council, with SPCCA, with medical and public to contain this rabies situation. And I think it's very timely now that this One Health concept today extend to MMA as our partners already. And also our community leaders and the others who are dog owners, cat owners. What is happening is, I think last weekend on Saturday, that I got a chance to attend agriculture and vets combined with SPCA, combined with medical. They have a camp, awareness campaign camp in Kampung Semabak. So I think during that time, the whole thing about this awareness campaign implemented there, the One Health. So I think during that time, the public were told about, remember Dr. Nicholas asked you, why do you own a cat, a dog or cat? So I think that's the first thing that the SPPA give lecture on. They say before you decide to own a dog and cat, you must know why, and do you have money to take care of them until the end of life? Okay? It's very costly. When my son very small, we got 7 cats, you know. So it's not because I go and get from any center or anything. No. My son it looks like a nice fella in school, and the canteen people always give him a box, you know. Okay, take this small little kitten, go home and ask for your daddy, mommy to rear. 7 of them, you know. So until now, my son already go to university already, you know. And recently, I brought my cat to the vets, and the cat say, your cat lives so long, should have died long ago already. You know, it cannot live so long. So we are so caring, you know. So last year, one of my cat got renal failure, kidney failure. Oh, cat also can get kidney failure, you know. So they check. I say, how you know? They check the blood exactly like human. Blood urea, serum creatinine. Kidney failure. They give some medication. Then they say, your cat need dialysis. Oh my God. You know, so dialysis, what? We make the fistula, everything here. No. They say for cat, there's no hemodialysis, there's no peritoneal dialysis. You remember the cat at the back here, the skin subcutaneous, very soft. They inject the fluid inside for half an hour, they drain the fluid. Exactly like human, 3 times a week. Can you imagine 3 times a week I have to bring my cat to the vets for dialysis? And I'm sure you know, the vets are laughing to the bank, you know. So it's so costly. So that's why I think first thing, because a lot of problem, after they find that they cannot afford, they'll dump the dog and cats and become stray dogs and cats. So next is, I think the vets have been doing a good job. Vets and local council. I think Dr. Nicholas didn't tell you how good a job they has been doing. They have been vaccinating, and also with the local council, they have been putting microchip. Last weekend, Saturday, the vets, I want to congratulate them. They managed to vaccinate 1,000 dogs. Okay? So you have to congratulate them. And I asked Adrian, how did you do this? He said he followed medical law. You know what or not? No more bringing your dogs down to the counter. Dogs sit in the car, wind down the window, they jab. Exactly during COVID time, you know, that humans stay in the car, put one stick into the right nostril, second stick left nostril, not enough, your tears will be coming down. The third one goes into your mouth. But this one, dog on jab. 1,000 is fantastic. Okay? So this is a thing that I think we need to educate our own self. Then the next is like what Dr. Nicholas said. Then the SPCA was telling them that dogs, cats, yes, you have the rights to own dogs and cats. But you must keep your dogs and cat at home. Okay? Because other people also got rights not to meet your dog outside. Okay? So I think it was mentioned that under the law, that actually if your dogs and cats outside, they can be taken away. Okay? So that's one thing. Then next is we talk about dog bite or human bite. I think Dr. Chua probably after this will tell you the most important thing is wash with soap. After that, running water. What do you mean by running water? Water, no leaks. It's just that you open the tap, put underneath for 15 minutes. Don't worry. The water bill, Kuching water board, very cheap, heavily subsidized. I think it's okay. Very cheap. After that, you go to our clinic. They will assess. You need vaccination. We will give vaccination. You need immunoglobulin. We will need immunoglobulin. So I think very simple. So the reason why I mention this is for doctors who are here today, if you are running clinic, please convey this information to your patient. Same question I ask you. Do you own a dog, a cat? Then you educate. If you don't, you plan to own one, also educate. And the same thing, community leaders and the rest of you. So we, all of us can be agent of change as of today. Okay? And then we depopularize the stray outside. But of course, so I think I really have to thank YB for actually initiating this One Health rabies control in Sarawak. Okay, so we have a national guideline on how to manage human rabies, but the group also came up with the Sarawak version. I'm sure you know Sarawak always different from other parts of the country of Sarawak is always different from other countries, right? So we have our own way because it's very applicable to our own environment here. Okay, so I think coming to the end already. All of you, did you scan your MySejahtera just now when you came in? No, you're not supposed to scan your MySejahtera. No, but I just want to ask you: do you know? Do you still click your MySejahtera? Yes. Why? Her record. Wow, good. No, actually, do you know that MySejahtera? You click at the home button. You actually can open your MySejahtera now and click home button. Up there, you see one infectious disease tracker. You click on that. Then it will tell you, it starts with TB. Then you scroll down, it will tell you how many animal rabies cases detect around you. So this one I did at home. Oh my God, 6 animal rabies around my area. I did not dare to go out. I only order Grab food. And then every time if I need to get out, I carry umbrella. Never open the umbrella. Umbrella is just to protect myself against any dogs and cats. Okay? So this is, you can know, in your area, you go back on animal rabies, and you scroll down a bit, you know any human got infected with rabies. Okay? So you can get all this information, and then you can actually use this information to manage your own risk of getting rabies. Of course, in Semabak, in the presentation, the medical people ask, if you see a dog fall into the drain, what do you do? Any idea? Do you go and save the dog? Yes. Okay. So that's what happened. And 2 of our hospital staff got bitten. Okay? So, but I asked, was it Dr. Chua? He said he denied that. So anyway, I think this is the risk that we are getting. So I think, whether we are at risk of getting rabies or not is all depend on us. And again, I would like to say that actually all of us here today, whether we are physically here, I heard that we are also online. So I think everyone listening to today's talk today, I think all of us must be agent of change. Okay? Must be agent of change. Whether we are in the local council, or we are vets, or we are in medical department, or whether you are community leaders, dogs owners, cats owners, and everybody. I think with all our working together, then only we can eliminate rabies in Sarawak. I think, thank you. That's all from me. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uy, for the very inspiring and informative talk. So our next speaker is Dr. Chua Hock Hin. I'd like to welcome Dr. Chua Hock Hin to give his talk. Dr. Chua is the Sarawak State Infectious Disease Physician based in the Sarawak General Hospital since the year 2009. He graduated from the National University of Malaysia, UKM, and became a specialist physician in the year 2009. He graduated.
Sorry, they want me to exit the screen.
Sorry, some technical issues. Okay, so Dr. Chua has been instrumental in the fight against rabies and then COVID-19 in Sarawak. He has given numerous lectures and talks on rabies to doctors and to the public. He is also extensively involved in infectious disease research. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Chua to give his talk. Dr. Chua, please.
Very good morning to YB Dato Sri, Dr. Sim, our State Health Director, Dr. Uy Juha, and Vet Director, Dr. Adrian, and all ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank MMA for inviting me to this forum to talk about rabies in Sarawak. So I think you all have heard about rabies in Sarawak, and I won't repeat this. In terms of rabies, I think it is now fairly endemic in Sarawak after come in 2017. But what I would like to draw your attention to is actually, if you look at your right-hand side, the pyramid, each human case just represent the tip of an iceberg, meaning that there will be a lot more human that are being bitten, they are being exposed to rabies, and the huge amount of animal that would be detected rabies positive, whether diagnosed or undiagnosed, all right? So about rabies, okay, during an animal bite, okay, if animal is infected with rabies, the saliva of the animal will be very infectious, okay? It is very important to know that. But how infectious is the animal would depends on the amount of virus in the saliva at the time of bite, okay? Because it is different. Because if you know about COVID, if you do your PCR, there are different CT value. It tells you each people have different amount of virus. All right? Same thing. And how likely a person is to be infected will depend on how much virus inoculated into your body. All right? During the bite, how deep is the wound, and if it hit the nerve or not. All right, it is very, very important. And which are the area where there is a lot of nerve? The areas where there is a lot of nerve is at your head and neck region. All right, that is a very dangerous area. Your genitalia, as well as your hands. Okay, that's why a little bit of cut you would feel that it is very painful. And also, it also depends on how close is the bite to the brain. The shorter the distance, it would reach the brain very, very fast. Okay, so this is very important. And as you can recall from Dr. Ui's slide just now, about 15% of the bite that actually occur, they bite the head and neck region. 36% is the upper part of the body. So that is huge because the distance for the virus to go to the brain is much shorter. And one thing about this virus that you need to know is that it doesn't go through to the brain through the front door. It goes through the back door, meaning it goes through your nerve, your peripheral nerve, then go to the main nerve, then go up to the brain. All right? So by bypassing the front door, by going through the back door, it cannot be detected by your body immune system. Therefore, you cannot fight the infection directly if you don't have an existing antibody. All right? So this is one thing that you need to know. It is a very smart virus. So, as you can see here, all right, I'll take you through. Human get bite, all right. If let's say you see the dog, it has a lot of saliva. It is called hypersalivation. It is one of the signs of rabies, and you can see there's a very bad bite wound. So, as you are bitten by an animal that is rabid, you don't call the person infected with rabies, but he is bitten by an animal which is rabies positive. Okay, so this virus, once it goes into your body, it has an incubation period, meaning it would try to find its way to infect the human, and if it succeeds, usually it would occur after 3 to 8 weeks. Then the human would show features of human rabies. There are two types. One type is a furious, where the patient presents like a person who have meningitis or brain infection, would be very confused. They can be very aggressive, shouting. So that is we call furious rabies. Another type is they present with weakness of their limb. But usually it started with the limb where they are bitten, followed by the other limb. This is what we always see. Then when they get human rabies, usually within 7 to 10 days, just like dogs, they would die. Okay? They would die. All right? So majority of the animal bite that we see is still by dogs, and most of the human rabies case that we see is also infected through dogs. Okay? It's also infected through dogs. Very few are due to cats, but if the population of dogs infected with rabies is very high, you spill over to the cats. All right? So what to do when you get bitten? Remember, very important to know that today you are bitten by a rabid dog doesn't mean that you get rabies on that day. All right? So there is still time for you to act. All right? So human get bitten. Okay? So whether you will get human rabies or not, it depends on whether you do anything. If you just leave it like that, 99.9%, you will get human rabies. All right? Of course, there's a small percentage that sometimes for unexplained reason, you don't get it. It is, by far, it is very small chance, okay? So if you want to do anything, it is to do when you get bitten, okay? You must do something because you still have time. The virus will not spread immediately. It would take time for it to move from the area where you are bitten, goes into the nerve, goes up to the main root, and then go to your brain, okay? And usually this incubation is what we call incubation period, like what I've explained just now. Then you get human rabies. Usually it is too late already, all right? And by far, the incubation period is 3 to 8 weeks. It's just like dogs. But about 1 to 3% of the population, the incubation period can be 6 months. We had a death in a young chap from Siburan. He was bitten more than 6 months ago. So what did he do? He is a lorry driver. He is very kind-hearted. He saw animal lying at the road. He just want to move the animal so that it wouldn't be hit by the moving cars or whatever. But as the process of moving the animal, he get bitten. But because it's just not a very deep bite, he just washed it off. He said, hey, my wound healed properly. No need. He didn't come to seek treatment until 6 months later when he presented to us with human rabies and he died. All right? So this is what is happening. Okay? So 1 to 3% can happen even after 6 months. So what to do if you get bitten? This is very, very important and it can save life. The most important thing is proper wound washing. Okay? Why proper wound washing? Because you want to wash off as much saliva that contains the virus that contaminate the bite wound. Okay? If you can reduce the viral load, then the chances of rabies go into your body is much lower. And during the time when there is no readily available vaccine or RIG, WHO in a very old paper in around 1950s, they found that a proper wound washing can reduce the risk of rabies by at least 40 to even 90%. So wound washing is very important. 15 minutes running water with soap, even if it is painful, wash it properly, okay? This would save you, and after that, you get assessment for vaccine as well as plus minus RIG, rabies immunoglobulin. All right? So I just show you this wound. It is a very big wound, okay? And in fact, it is deep. So if you use running water to wash with soap, there are deep pockets that you cannot wash yourself. So when you come to the healthcare facilities, they are supposed to irrigate your wound. Use a syringe, push water in to wash as much as possible. All right? Definitely, this would also be done when they go for wound debridement for you. Usually, this type of case is very bad. You get admitted, go for surgery to debride off the tissue. Okay? And this part, they have to flush. If, let's say you unfortunately have such a bad wound and the clinic doctors just use a swab to wipe it, taking your words that you have washed properly, please come to the hospital. Please come to the hospital. You need to get a proper wound washing. All right? This is very, very important. Second thing is, after you have done the first part, which is the very important of wound washing, then you have to get assessment to see whether you need vaccine or RIG. We have a way to determine it, assessed by a trained doctor if you need vaccine and RIG. And of course, the huge risk lies in the animal that bite you, all right? Then the biggest question now is by getting timely PEP. PEP means post-exposure prophylaxis, meaning after you are bitten, you get access, you get vaccine, you get RIG. Am I fully safe? In medical field, there is nothing that is 100%. There is nothing that is 100%, okay? And the only thing that you can say it is 100% safe if you are very confident that the dog that bites you is not a rabid dog, all right? Only you yourself know. Of course, if it is a stray dog, the chances is very high if it is in a high locality, a locality where there is a lot of rabies animals around, okay? And of course, in Kuching, I think you all know that which are the highly infectious area. One area is Batu Kitang, Jalan Stephen Yong, 7 miles onwards. When we see cases that are bitten from there, we don't take chance. We don't never take chance at all. It is very, very high density of rabid animal. All right? All right, so I just want to show you 2 wounds, okay? This is the wound whereby, if you can see, this is the forearm, the arm here. The dog bite very deeply, okay? This person was bitten, called for help. A lot of people standing nearby, nobody helped him. Nobody helped him at all because they are also scared of the dog. Because the way the dog bite is very vicious. He come in for vaccine, for wound washing, for RIG, but subsequently, we think, even though he tested negative, we think the highly likely cause that can explain his demise is still rabies, okay? That is one case where we fail, all right? Look at this case, all right? He is bitten by a rabid dog. The dog jumped up, bite him. Look, I want to show you this part. Pay attention to the upper lips. You see it is like a superficial scratch, correct? Correct? If the doctor didn't check or if the patient didn't tell you, you can see it can be misleading. This is what is happening when you turn the lip up. There is a puncture hole. So if you don't wash the wound, you don't inject RIG into that area, he would have been dead by now. We call him up after 1 year, he still survived. Reason is because the doctors pick this up, get the dental doctor in to help flush the wound, and then inject RIG for him. All right? And he survived. Okay? Therefore, what I want to tell you is, no treatment is 100% in medical field. All right? Of course, this is what you have seen in newspaper. And again, another thing is that 2 recent human rabies cases from Siaran that comes to us, they could not recall the history of animal bite. But of course, a lot of times when the patient come in, they can't talk already. But when we dig the history from their family members, they can't recall. But some of them, they do have marks on their body, which we think is animal bite or scratch that they don't pay attention at all because it sounds usual to them. All right? So this is very important. So to sum up, we are facing a serious threat from rabies. Our people, especially children and young working people, are exposed to this threat. The problem can be divided into 2. In urban areas, poor pet ownership leading to stress issue. Pockets of people with poor awareness as well. They get bitten, they don't come. They think, something not serious, all right? Suburban and interior, they have poor awareness sometimes. We know because we are in the medical field, even for sometimes for a simple fever, they don't come to the nearest clinic also. They self-treat because sometimes the distance is just too far. The distance is too far. They say it's very troublesome. And someone such a simple scratch, why do I care? All right, so awareness is an issue as well. So we should learn from countries who are struggling to eliminate animal rabies. If you eliminate animal rabies, the source, you will not get human rabies, like what Dr. Nicholas have emphasized to you all. Animal control is a very important short-term measures. I mentioned short-term measures to reduce the number of animals that carries the rabies virus and pose a threat to the public. Because if, let's say, you know that that area have a high density of animals with rabies, you cannot predict what type of bite this person will get. It can bite over face, bite over certain area. It's not out of your control. It is totally out of your control. So the only way to safeguard the people's there is to control the animal population there while buying time for other things to work, like your vaccination and your animal vaccination. All right? So for all communities leaders here, very important, gigitan anjing atau kucing di Sarawak boleh membawa maut. Jika mahu diri atau keluarga selamat, kalau digigit anjing atau kucing, cepat buat dua perkara. Cuci luka sebaik-baiknya dengan air dan sabun untuk sekurang-kurang 15 minit. Please emphasize to your people at your area. Pergi dapat rawatan segera di klinik atau hospital, tak kira luka kecil ataupun besar. Because they need to be made aware of this. Tiada rawatan equals kematian. Alright? It is as simple as that. Alright? And I don't think you can see that very clearly, but what I want to show you is this is a diagram that is used in Nepal, and for human rabies, anything that contribute to human rabies includes domestic animal bite, okay, can be from your pet, stray dog bite, and they even have wildlife bites, okay? So it is very important. If you don't control our population of dog with rabies, it will spill over not only to cats, but maybe some of the other animals as well. Then it will be very, very difficult to eradicate rabies. And what contributes to stray dog bite is because of the density of the stray dog. And what causes the density of the stray dog to proliferate is because of the food that they can get from rubbish, okay? Rubbish bin, all those things. It is all interrelated. That's why you need the One Health concept, whereby you need the vet, the health people, as well the environmental health people to come in to eliminate dog rabies. Therefore, you have 0 human deaths and elimination of dog-transmitted rabies as well. Rabies is one part that is causing a lot of damage to the public. We haven't talked about other diseases that we are seeing increasingly, things like TB, tuberculosis, all those things. We haven't even talked about that. So I think lastly, we all here, we must know that we have a common goals. No matter who you are, you can be a housewife, you can be a community leader, you can be a doctor, you can be sitting in the vet and health side. Our aim is to get 0 by 30, meaning 0 human deaths from dog-mediated rabies by 2030. This is very, very important because we have to not only look at one part, you have to look the problem, this rabies problem collectively, meaning at a bigger picture. The higher you sit, you see the overall picture, rather than you look at a very narrow area. Whatever it is done for the purpose for everyone's safety to get zero human rabies from dog-mediated rabies by 2030. I think with that, thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Chua, for your very informative talk. Next, I'd like to invite our guest of honor, Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Professor Dr. Sim Kui Hian, to come to deliver his speech. Please join me in welcoming Datuk Sri Prof. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want this?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ong. Dr. Wee, our pengarah JKNS, Dr. Adrian, our pengarah vet, and Dr. Nicholas, Dr. Chua, and also Dr. Liu, he's MMS Sarawak organizing these events. First, let me thanks all of you, MMS Sarawak, for actually bring everyone together. There is a lot of talk, a lot of panic, a lot of all this, but that's just publicity. No one do anything, publicity and no one do anything, right? Oh, I forgot the council CS, Zarina, having panic and no one do anything, it will not settle anything. Having finger pointing will not find a solutions, And just now we heard from all the experts. I still learning how bits and pieces. Even though I thought I know very well, but I still learn from my suggestion. I can look at the dogs population and rabies population and so on. But it's always for us to learn. Unfortunately, maybe the timing is not very good. It's Friday and people working, right? And we have to figure out how the council, the KMKK, the district office, and all of us, how to even play, because it's very hard to get Dr. Wee, Dr. Chua, Nicholas, and everyone of us to do this kind of session. But with the recorded session, and all of you can be the champion. The champion by helping us to share this knowledge and so on. And we learn so much about rabies, but rabies has been around since 2017, right? And a lot of us, in 2017, at that point in time, right, everyone see any dogs, right, everybody panic, But now, right, we also relax, And then when people die, we all just complain, people die of rabies, And then they point and say, hey, how come council didn't do anything, Always someone else at fault and not yourself. That is not the way how we are going to solve this issue together, because the council itself cannot solve by itself. The vet itself cannot solve by itself. Dr. Chua cannot solve by itself, but we need to come together to do it. Just what you heard, even though there are new information to me, mainly because I haven't been learning all, but it's nothing new. We have been talking about a vaccination campaign, and of course, during the MCO COVID-19, we all stepped down, and Dr. Adrian has been very kind to share with me that in 2017, 6 months only, we vaccinated 42,000 dogs. In 2018, everybody panicked. So 66,000 dogs. Right, 66,000 dogs. 2019, right, it dropped to 50,000. Right, and of course, 2020 is still going on, still maintain about 41,000. And then 21, 22, because of COVID-19, about 14,000, 12,000. Right, it dropped. And as a result, not surprisingly, we are doing a fantastic job, and that's why you see the rabies cases drop. But because the vaccination dropped, you see the rabies cases coming back. So you see, when the community come together, right, we can do 66,000 more. But this year, we start again, but this year so far only 4,700. Still 2018, 66,000. And the next year, I mean, I'm very sure we didn't kill 10,000 dogs. You know, I don't think so. You know, otherwise, right, all of us have heard about how many dogs being killed. You know, and it dropped to 50,000. It shows that the community, each and every one of us, have a role to play, have a part to play. If we do that right, we don't even have to panic about rabies. Not only don't have to panic about rabies, right, we can at least